Nintendo's journey into the film world continues with a Legend of Zelda movie co-produced by Sony Entertainment. That's right, IGN's April Fool's Day joke is finally happening nearly 20 years later. Let's just hope the CGI is better. Anyway, while we don't know much about this film beyond it being live action and a few key production members, we can't help but wonder what it could mean for the Zelda series moving forward and more. Specifically, the next Zelda game. Because we think there's a good chance this hints at a potential new future for the series. First and foremost, this movie isn't just for Zelda fans, it's also for potential new ones. For the non-gamers, the movie is a way for them to experience Zelda in a format that's accessible to them. That may be enough, but what Nintendo really wants them to do is enjoy the movie to the point where they say, I want more of this. So it's time to pick up a Nintendo console and play some Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, or whatever new Zelda game may be out at the time. And according to the latest Nintendo financial earnings report, this is what happened with the Super Mario Bros. Movie, as it helped drive up sales of evergreen titles related to Super Mario from April through September, and it was followed by Wonder being the biggest release for a Super Mario title, which Nintendo partially credited the movie for. They are undoubtedly expecting similar results for the Legend of Zelda movie, having it drive up their sales of Zelda software. And seeing how Mario Wonder came out just a few months after the Mario movie, perhaps history will repeat itself with the Zelda movie and a new game to take advantage of the expanded audience? Of course, that will depend on how long the movie takes to finish, as mainline Zelda games tend to take 5 to 6 years between releases, meaning the next game could be as far off as 2028 or 2029. Now, live-action films don't usually take this long to create. That is, if they go smoothly. I mean, it's been so long since that Metal Gear Solid film was announced. Oscar Isaac was cast as Solid Snake in 2020, and it still hasn't entered production. And don't even get me started on Uncharted, which has been through so many actors and directors for the past decade until finally releasing in 2022. But from the sounds of it, this project may not be as ill-fated as those, since producers Shigeru Miyamoto and Avi Arad have been discussing it for the past 10 years. It's unclear what exactly they were discussing, but if the Zelda movie has been talked about in secret for that long, hopefully it was to prepare for any obstacles that could occur during filming. Either way, I personally think the Zelda movie is still a ways off, as Nintendo wants to take the time to ensure it's the best it could possibly be. Heck, this is what they did with the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which released 5 years after its initial announcement. When speaking about the Zelda movie at an investor Q&A, Miyamoto said that movies are like games, and that you need to spend a lot of time working on them until you get something you're satisfied with. Yeah, that confirms it right there. Nintendo was going to take their sweet old time figuring out how to get the Zelda movie right, and it might be long enough to the point where we might see a new game in the series around the same time it comes out. So let's pretend that this is the case. The Zelda movie releases, and then the next mainline Zelda game a few months after. What does that game look like? After all, Nintendo is going to want to hook in those who saw the movie, and one way to do that is by making it similar to that film in some way. Let's bring it back to Mario Wonder once again, as the team for that game definitely had the Mario movie in mind during development. Producer Takashi Tezuka said in an interview that they vastly increased the animation budget as a direct result of the Mario movie raising expectations, with people who saw it thinking, this is what Mario does, this is how Mario moves. Surely this same philosophy is going to carry over from the live-action Zelda movie. Oh yeah, did I mention the movie is going to be live action? Hear me out. I'm not suggesting the next Zelda is going to look uber realistic like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Death Stranding. Though the art styles of the Zelda games have changed constantly, their one absolute is that the characters never look like photorealistic humans, with Twilight Princess being about as close as it gets, and even that was highly stylized. However, there was that Wii U tech demo from 2011 that looked so good with gorgeous lighting and intricate details. Is it possible we might finally see this visual style realized in a full game to better pair with the live-action movie? I still dream about this tech demo, and I hope this visual style is used in a future installment. What's funny is that Nintendo loves utilizing Zelda for their tech demos, featuring more realistic looks for the time, only to backpedal with the actual games that use more cartoony visuals. It seems the best time to go back to a more realistic art style would be around the time the live-action Zelda film comes out. Surely those who enjoyed that movie are going to want to dive into a Zelda game that looks similar to it, no? Furthermore, we can't help but wonder if the live-action setting might hint at a possible darker take on the Zelda series, and if so, how that might impact the games. Zelda is certainly no stranger to dark storytelling after all, so it wouldn't be too far-fetched. Recent comments from director Wes Ball may suggest that the movie will go for a more live-action Miyazaki style with the wonder and whimsy those films present, which isn't far off from the current Zelda games that take inspiration from Miyazaki films. So even if the next Zelda game has a more realistic art style to reflect the movie, we'd imagine it would still have the whimsical nature of the games. And with Zelda straying away from linear stories in the most recent installments, could the movie suggest a return to a more linear narrative, at least for one installment? And what if Link actually speaks in the movie? You know, with words and a voice. Does that mean he'll speak in the game? This might be a more blasphemous take, as Link has never spoken before.
Gee, it sure is boring around here. I just wonder what Ganon's up to.
Those don't count! But the Zelda series lately has been all about breaking previously established conventions, as Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom drastically changed the Zelda formula we've been used to since the 90s. Who's to say they couldn't change the narrative conventions of Zelda 2 by giving Link a voice, making him more of a character than a literal link between the player and the game? It would be a controversial decision, but one that could pay off in spades if done well to fully capitalize on the movie audience's expectations. Alternatively, let's assume the Zelda movie comes out much sooner than the next mainline game. Nintendo could still capitalize on the movie's success in various ways, remakes and remasters being one viable option, as there was a remake of Super Mario RPG the same year the Mario movie came out, just in time to cash in on the memories of lapsed Nintendo fans that may have been reintroduced to the IP through the Mario movie. Maybe Nintendo could initiate a similar strategy revisiting Zelda's roots with, say, a remake everyone's been begging for years, such as A Link to the Past, or better yet, a new top-down Zelda in the same vein as Mario Wonder. This would allow new fans to experience the origins of Zelda with modern visuals and gameplay philosophies. Given how Nintendo has pumped out Zelda games in some form almost every year, I'm certain there will be one around the time the movie releases, be it mainline or not. Regardless of what happens, the Zelda franchise could change significantly if the movie turns out to be a commercial success. New fans will come about and have their own expectations on what a Zelda game is and could be, which may affect how Nintendo approaches the games from then on. Will some Zelda titles have more realistic art styles? Will they have a greater focus on story? Will Link speak? Only time will tell, but we're excited to see what the future holds for the series in cinema and games. But hey, this was just some fun speculation that I've been going over in my head ever since the movie was announced. Do you think I'm onto something here? Or am I crazy for wanting a game in the same style of that Wii U tech demo? Let me know in the comments below, and keep it locked to GameXplain for more videos on the Zelda movie and games. Until next time, bye bye!